All right. My name is Evan Strong, and I make videos like this, primarily geared around the lacing of our shoes, the tying of our shoes, and the clothing that we wear, and the discrepancies within those things, left and right, front to back, that don't allow our bodies to just work naturally, out of their natural center line. And I show little modifications within all the videos that I've already posted that we can do within the things that we already have to just allow our bodies to work, to allow our bodies to be balanced and even as they would before we place clothing on them that alters the way that they work. So, prerequisites that I always say are my shoelacing technique, which you can find in many places within where my content is placed, tying the shoes evenly over toward the inside to allow for an even internal rotation, which is something very, very, very uncommon for people to have in modern 2024. Today's the 6th of September, 2024, and we should not be lacking a rotation because that's half of our function, right? Internal and external. So that shoelacing technique, the tying of the shoes, removing the tags from the tongues of the shoes up in through everything that you ever place on your body, because those tags alter the way that your body works greatly. They're synthetic. They are oil that is turned into plastic that they call polyester, placed inside of our clothing against our bodies that affect our body's positioning, and it bleeds into our skin as a topical cream does to heal the inside of the body. Something that's placed on us that shouldn't be in us also bleeds into our bodies when we get hot and sweaty, exercising, or just through temperature or whatever it is, right? So, prerequisites, yes. I will be designing clothing to just allow our bodies to work the way that we are universally designed in the image of our God, who is Jesus Christ. That is how I can speak for people here and there on the earth when I am, wherever I am making these videos, because we are universally designed within our very, 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 very slight differences. So, all right. Yes, clothing to come by me to allow the body to just work. Okay, I'm excited for that. Very excited for that. Look out for it when it comes. So, the thing with specialists, the body is all one, right? I have talked about all the time, if one thing is not working correct, something else within the body and many other things have to compensate just to allow the body to keep working, to allow it to stay vertical on an earth pulling us straight down with gravity, to allow us to keep going straight forward when we are walking. Those kind of things, something has to compensate somewhere else if there's a problem within the body. So, the thing with specialists is they normally focus on where the problem seems to be. They normally focus on where the pain is. And if you have pain somewhere, it's normally stemmed from somewhere else not functioning correct. If you have an actual injury to a part of the body, that's one thing. If you're playing football, like American football, let's say, right, and you tear your knee and you tear one of the ligaments within your knee, then okay, you've injured your actual knee and that needs to be addressed. But if we're talking about just something that's happened over time, you've kind of just developed pain, you've developed a patterning, and you're not really sure why, and it just kind of seems to persist or seems to keep getting worse, well, let's say it's the knee in this case, although there wasn't actually an injury, wait for that car, in this case that happened to the knee, but there's just pain that seems to just be there, and you're not sure what caused it or why it's there, and it doesn't seem to go away, and no matter what you do, the stretching, the mobility, the workouts, it seems to just persist. Almost 100% of the time in those cases, it is not your knee. It's either your ankle or your hip. Because the knee is an extremely simple hinge. the knee almost only just hinges straight. At the end, it twists a little bit. Slight internal rotation does happen within the knee joint. The leg, that's what I was mentioning at the beginning, the leg needs to have a lot of internal rotation because it naturally would until we do things that don't allow it to. So, the reason I have my shoelacing and tying technique is because if you are tying your shoes toward the same direction, now instead of walking straight, you're walking like this. And your entire body is twisting. And up that leg, especially the one being tied incorrectly, the other one is also affected, right? Because again, it has to be compensating just to allow you to keep going straight. Whether you're sitting, standing, sleeping, anything, if you're alive in any kind of way. If something's going on, something else within your body is trying to compensate. So, truck. The knee, being a simple hinge joint, if it's not allowed to hinge straight the way that it's designed to hinge, because there's a knot in the shoe, and I'm going to demonstrate this for this one, right? When I say to tie over to the inside, this is what I mean. Outside lace over toward the inside, and then tuck it under and tie, right? And that'll pull your foot in a way that causes it to internally rotate. Really what it does is just allow your shoe to fit on your foot as a glove would on your hand. That's what my shoelacing and tying technique does, and I've been over that many times because we don't want to alter the way that our foot works. And if you're tying your shoe in a way that is causing it to be in a chronic state of external rotation, then it's just not operating the way that it's designed to. And your knee trying to hinge, your knee is hinging because there's weight on the foot. When you're walking, you're having weight on the foot, and then you take the weight off the foot by hinging the knee, you swing the foot forward by hinging the knee, you put the foot back down, and then you walk. The knee is just allowing the foot to do its job, and kind of vice versa, right? And that's just how the body works. Like I said, everything's connected. So if we're focusing on the knee because there's pain in it, but you're tying your shoes unevenly, no matter what you do, knee replacements, physical therapy, injections, any kind of surgery, anything, to the knee, you will never rid your knee pain, ever. You will never, because you're still physically tying a rope, tweaking your knee, rather than using my shoelacing technique to just allow it to sit as it would naturally. It's very rare for there to actually be problems within the knee because of the knee. Very rare. Unless, like the case I mentioned, an actual injury to the knee, like a tear or like a physical injury to the knee itself. Other than that, it's extremely rare for the knee to have a problem, right? Unless something physically happens to the knee itself, like externally like that, right? Hitting the actual knee. So when you have a specialist focusing on where the pain is rather than what's causing the pain, they're never going to be able to fix it. Because if you get a knee replacement and continue to tie your shoes unevenly, you're still going to have the same thing happening within what's now your artificial knee, when you probably didn't need that knee replacement. And don't let this hurt people if you have had things like a knee replacement. If you didn't know, you didn't know. But the majority of the time, surgeries like that are entirely avoidable. If you start to have pain within the knee, well, you will have pain in your knees, as I did. I've told my story about the pain that I had within my knees, and I went to physical therapy for months, and it never actually did very much. But now, my knees work wonderful. I can sit in a very deep low squat. I can do just like normal functions with my knees, and they just work, and they don't hurt because they shouldn't. They're designed to work. The human body is designed to work. So anyway, that goes for any other area of the body. It's not normally where the actual pain is. If you're having pain that just kind of keeps to persist or even get worse without something actually having happened, it's almost never that thing that is the problem. It's something else. So, yes, specialists are great if you need somebody to actually operate on something that had an injury to it. But a lot of times that's not the way to go. A lot of times it is not going to help. And that should be relieving, because it's usually so much more simple than having something like a knee replacement. It's normally tie your shoes correctly, lace them with Evan Strong's lacing technique, right? Other people probably lace their shoes that way, but that's the way that I have found that just allows the foot to work normal. So, because as I mentioned, with having gone to physical therapy, that was years ago, and since then my knees were working okay within the pain that I did still have. But once I started messing with shoelaces a year and a half ago, that's what actually caused my knees to just be healed. Also, the things that I've done within my clothing to allow a center, because again, if your hips are twisted, your knee will be affected no matter what, because your knee just comes down from the femur. And if the femur, which is essentially the hip, because the femur being this upper leg bone, comes up into your pelvis, and if that's twisted, your knee is twisted, right? So it's almost never where the pain is, unless there was a physical injury to that spot on the body. So, yes. Yeah. That's really all there is to say, and then you can apply that to any part of the body. If it's the arm, same thing. The elbow is a very, very basic hinge joint. If you have pain in your elbow, but you're wearing oversized shirts and you're working down here, straining your elbow so much because your rotator cuff is just not in the position that it's designed to work in, which is up here, and that's how I can sit in active position, right? You're going to have pain in your elbow, and it's not your elbow's fault. It's your shoulder at that point, right? So that's why the clothing is so important. It's the only thing that's always on your body, and it's the only thing that is always affecting your body. Ideally, it affects it the absolute least that we can. If there is something placed on you, it's on you. And that is different than just your body working the way that it would. But within the things that I've shown, within the content that I've already placed on here, where my content's placed, and within the clothing that I will design, you will just be able to purchase my clothing and put it on. Purchasing it in your size. Do not buy my clothing oversized to fit fashionably. Do not do that. The only reason I am designing clothing is to allow it to sit at the natural points of the body, the hinge points of the shoulder, above the hips, shoulder seams behind the shoulders, things like that just have to be done to just allow the body to work. So do not buy my clothing oversized. Buy it in your size. So, yes. Okay. Thank you. Stick around for the clothing. Stick around because I am excited for it personally. It's going to be great for me and for everybody who decides to purchase it. If you have seen my content, even within just the past month to a month and a half that I've been posting any of these videos, you have seen this transformation within my body, and it is because of the clothing that that's been able to happen. As I've said, the only thing besides that I have done, because I say we should never have to stretch unless something major happens. We should never just be exercising for the sake of exercise. We should not do those things, because the body just functions and it just works. It's about a positioning. That's what my clothing will do, is just allow our bodies to have its natural positioning. So the only thing that I have done, other than just wearing clothing, modifying the clothing that I have and that I have purchased to just sit evenly on my body, is just using my own fingers to massage out scar tissue and stuck muscles that doesn't really release unless it's broken up when it comes to scar tissue. So yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. We are all universally designed within our very, 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 very slight differences in the image of our living God, who is Jesus Christ. And that is how I can speak for people. And that is why I'm going to be designing clothing out of the knowledge and understanding that I have been able to gain through my journey and experience on how the human body operates universally. So, thank you. Stick around for the clothing, because it's going to be awesome. Life-changing for myself and anybody who chooses to purchase it. So, thank you.